Is your body aching for no particular reason? Are you excessively tired, triggered, irritated, getting angry at random things? The thing is, if we bottle up our emotions, if we suppress how we're feeling, it can come out in other ways. Our body is that signal to tell us what we're hiding inside, what we're hiding from ourselves, and what we're hiding from others. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. We're creatures of bottling. We bottle up everything. We think that we've been led to believe that we're not supposed to show emotion, that we're not supposed to express ourselves or express our feelings. Stay quiet, stay strong. But you're not actually strong in hiding your emotions. It actually is a form of weakness. It takes great strength to be able to own your emotions and to be aware of your emotions. This is the thing. We're not aware. We ignore everything. We bottle it up. We put it to the side. It's like, it doesn't matter. If I don't see it, it's not there. So if we get emotional, we just suppress it. We push it down. If we get angry, we don't ask ourselves why. If we're in pain, we don't ask ourselves why either. And I'll give you an example. Like I went to the beach last week. And, I got into the sea and I was in the sea for ages and my body went completely just so relaxed. It was an amazing feeling. And I came home that evening and I was in agony. My body started aching, my back, my legs. I started to get the sniffles as well. Like I was sick. And I knew I wasn't sick because, I have a strong immune system. And I was like, obviously the sea cleansed me. I was like, why am I in so much pain? And, this is the thing. It was silent pain. My body was obviously under a lot of stress that I wasn't actually facing. And I wasn't aware of this. And I've heard of silent pain before in animals. I've done a course on kind of energy healing for dogs. And, silent pain, your animal can be going around and they'll be fine. They're not, it looks like they're not in pain, but they are in pain. And it turns out this pain I was going through was like, because I had so much suppressed, I didn't just get cleansed by the ocean. I was detoxed by the ocean. And it was a clear warning sign to me that I was bottling up emotions and I was bottling up stress. Because I was like, obviously, the way I thought is like, I was obviously going around like this for weeks, just completely saying, I'm grand, I'm fine, there's nothing wrong with me. Completely in denial with what was going on in my mind. And it was only in actually sitting with it and understanding that this pain was coming from somewhere. This pain was a signal to what I was trapping within me. That I actually sat there and I was like, what have I been denying to myself? What have I been hiding from myself? And that was it. I was completely I've been so busy lately that I was like, not acknowledging the fact that I was under a lot of stress, that I needed to, let go of a few projects or, to let, start new ones. And I was obviously, my whole body was literally telling me, there's something wrong here. You know what I mean? There's some trapped, because it was trapped pain. When something is trapped, I took that as a signal that I had trapped emotion, trapped stress. So this is why it's so important to not only listen to our triggers, but listen to our body. Are you in pain? Are you tense? Are you tired? Are you getting these tension headaches? Another one for me is my tummy. My tummy will react if I'm going through a stressful situation or if I'm doing something that I'm not supposed to do. You know what I mean? These are all clear signs of what we can look out for, when we're not listening to our emotions. And I've said this before. If we bottle things down, it's like this pressure cooker. The lid is gonna fucking explode off it if we don't listen. It really is, and this is the thing. It comes out in volatile ways. It comes out in anger, it comes out in aggression. You end up being triggered and frustrated by the people you love. For me personally, I get triggered at myself or at my pets, and I don't like that. And I'm like asking myself all the time, why am I angry? What's making me angry? What is within me? And the last few weeks, I have been triggered, and I didn't connect it to what the conclusion was after my detox, we'll call it. You know what I mean? I have been stressed for weeks. I have been triggered for weeks. And I have been trying to ask myself, what's wrong? What's going on? And I kept denying the things that were wrong. And it came out really in pain and, in that ache. And what I find as well is this is what happens. if we don't face what's within us, it's going to affect what's outside of us, like our bodies. You know, are you constantly getting sick? Is your body run down? Have you got a repetitive strain injury, or, you know, something that keeps, you know, flaring up, you know, a wound that keeps opening, all this kind of stuff? This means you're not fixing the internal. Your body is weak because your internal system is weak. The more we suppress that stress, the more we suppress those inner emotions, the more your body is just going to scream at you that you need to do something. And this happened for me as well. So, like, you know, I've had to walk away from a lot of people in my life, and I've had to, you know, transition from certain situations. And it's the same if you're in a toxic relationship of any kind and you're not listening to the warning signs. The warning signs will, like, you know, they'll end up in external tower moments, but you'll end up being depleted and you'll end up getting weak. So, like, I had to walk away from friends initially. And anytime I was about to go visit them when I was still in denial, or when the last time I did visit them, my tummy was in agony, absolute agony, like really, really painful. And, like, you know, there was a few times that I cancelled plans because I was like, my body is telling me I don't want to go here. And I had to listen. But when it came to family, my dad, I ended up spending too much time with him and ended up codependent on him trying to fix his life. And he's a very negative energy. And I ended up deteriorating completely. My mental and physical health was just gone to shit. Like, I had rashes all over my face. My immune system was so low. I had a fear-based entity attached to me. I was gone to nothing. That's another thing that's a warning sign. You detach completely from yourself. You go numb. If you're not listening to your internal system, you go completely numb. You disconnect. You're going around in this brain fog like a zombie because you're not actually connecting to your inner self. This is so important. You need to connect with what you're going through. Like, we have energy centers, chakra systems that we can actually, they can give us the information or, you know, signals that we need. Like, so whatever section of your body is going through the most pain is the section you need to work on. So your lower chakras, it's to do with security, stability. You know what I mean? Your sacral, it's to do with shame, inner child healing, your creativity, if that's blocked. Your solar plexus, and, you know, it keeps going up your heart, your throat, your third eye, and your crown. It all could, like, you know, they're all signals to what we need to heal. What parts of us are disconnected from ourselves? What parts of us are, you know, needing addressing? You know, and it's, for me, like, it was last week especially, it was the leg pain. The leg pain was worse than the back pain, but it was the lower back as well. So that was my lower system, that security, that instability, that fear. Like, you know, and I had to walk away from a project, and, you know, that was scary for me. Do you know what I mean? But, like, you know, because of that, I was feeling all these emotions around ungroundedness and stuff. You know, so what am I trying to say? Our body is literally a signal. It's a warning system. It's a signal system. It will tell you how you're feeling. But, you know, another thing then, as I've mentioned, is your anger and frustration. You're not just getting angry because you walked into the thing and hurt your toe. Like, you know, there's times that I've walked into something and I get really angry. And then when I'm not in a triggered energy, I'll actually do the same thing and I'm like, oh, you silly fucker. Do you know what I mean? Something like that, you know what I mean? I laugh at it. You know, I won't actually get angry with myself. You see, this is it, where we neglect to see that any frustration or trigger or anger or any kind of energy like that is a clear sign there's something wrong inside. You know, there's nothing to do with the person, or, you know, we blame the person. This is another thing. You know, when I'm triggered, I blame the external. We all do this. Blame the external, blame, you're the cause of my problems, all this kind of shit. And, you know, we forget to see that this person is actually a guidance system, like our body. So our triggers, our anger, our emotions, our frustration, and our physical illnesses are all a guidance system. These are your teachers. Listen to that guidance system. You know, this is so important. Like, stress is one of the biggest things that we go through. And when we suppress stress, and, like, this is the thing, this is what my problem was, is I forgot. I knew this before, but I forgot. You know, we think that you have to be in a low energy to be stressed, that things have to be going wrong for you to be stressed. Things don't have to go wrong to be for you to be stressed. You could just be busy. Your life could be flowing beautifully, but you just have a lot of projects on. Your body is still under stress. You know what I mean? You think, oh yeah, I'm winning, which is great, but you're still going through stress. Like, you know, your body is still feeling what you're going through. Your body will still need that extra rest. And this is the thing, as I mentioned, that silent pain in animals. We go into this hyperactivity, adrenaline kind of energy. So like we're like this, it's like we have this shield around us. We think we have this shield around us. It's actually a false shield. And we're like this, and it's like, nothing can hurt me. I'm not stressed. I'm fine. And then all of a sudden, because my body completely relaxed in the ocean, it was like, ow, I'm in agony. And I was like, I need to fucking rest. But like, you know, what I knew myself that my body was literally telling me I was stressed. Like the pain only lasted a couple of days until I, you know, deciphered what was going on inside me. You know what I mean? And the sniffles only lasted overnight. So I knew my body was purging. I knew my body was detoxing. And I was like, I didn't know I had this much within me to detox. And I was just like, okay, what is this trying to tell me? Ask yourself, ask yourself every single day. How am I feeling? Why do I feel this way? Why did I react this way? What is my body trying to tell me? So it's not just, you know, your emotions and your triggers. It's your body. Every time you get a little bit of a pain, every time you get a little bit of a trigger, every time, ask yourself, what is this trying to show me? Like we are our own biggest teachers. You know what I mean? We can, we're not that aware. We don't realize how powerful we really are, how powerful our mind really is, and how powerful our body really is. You know what I mean? And we wonder why we're run down. We wonder why our immune system is low, because you're overdoing it. And this is another thing, like we overdo. We're always doing, and never just being. We need to have rest. And I used to be like that myself. I used to be constantly on the go, constantly trying to do these things, constantly injuring myself, and constantly in pain. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was working in factories, like, you know what I mean? I'd be in agony. I'd be pulling muscles left, right, and center because I wasn't resting in between. I was never listening to my body. I was never listening to the signals. I was getting sick. I was always like, you know, I always got the flu. Or, you know, I had bruises everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Whether that was from work or drinking. Do you know what I mean? It was just constant. And it was literally clear signs from my body. Stop doing what you're doing and sit the fuck down. And I wasn't listening. And I was constantly, my immune system was just getting weaker and weaker and weaker because I wasn't looking after myself on a health-wise level. And I wasn't looking after my body. But I wasn't listening. I just wasn't listening. I was an angry person. I was such an angry person. I used to get so frustrated and angry all the time. You know what I mean? And, you know, it's just so nice to actually not have that anymore. I've been working on that anger issue for a long time. But the anger was to do with stuff that I had suppressed. I wasn't angry. My inner child was angry. My inner child, when I wasn't even my inner child was angry. She was upset. She was tired. She felt neglected. She was like, you know, and I think that's another thing. Like we can tend to get angry, bitter, jealous, or triggered by other people. And, you know, I had to sit with that myself lately. And I'm like, I'm not a jealous person. I'm not a bitter person. But why is my inner child reacting like this? And it was because she was in pain. Because she was like, you know, as I said, I'm stepping down from Midweek Mindset Live that we do on Wednesdays. And for the last few weeks, my inner child has been in agony, telling, you know, unconsciously knowing that this was going to happen. And she was in a lot of pain. And she was coming out with these triggers and bitterness. And I'm just like, what's going on here? This is not me. And I realized it's because she felt like she was, you know, this is the thing when we decided to walk away from certain things, the abandonment wound is triggered. So that's why it comes up. And I had to understand that. I was like, you know, I'm not angry and bitter. I'm just literally, my inner child wants a hug and she wants to be reassured that everything's going to be okay. And I understand that. But it actually took me to get that purge through the ocean to actually have my body physically say to me, wake the fuck up, like, you know, because the last few weeks I was trying to decipher my triggers, but I wasn't understanding because I was in denial. I was in denial that I had to change things and I had to transition into something else. And that denial was coming up as anger and resentment because my inner child was in pain because she was like, this is happening and you're not listening to me. And my body literally had to shout at me and say, you're under stress. You're in denial. You're trapping your emotions. You know, and this is it. And like we there's so many ways for us. We just don't face things. We numb. We can distract, whether that's with substances like alcohol or drugs, or for me it could be like watching a movie just to get in the zone and just not think about anything. Like, do you know, that's my little bit of a detox. And like, you know, sometimes that's good, that's therapeutic, but obviously not the alcohol part or the drugs, but you know, watching a movie is okay. But sometimes we just need to sit with it, sit in silence. And being in nature is amazing, because like I had to sit in silence and I had to ask myself, why are you in pain right now? What is your body trying to tell you? Your body is obviously under a lot of stress and you weren't actually allowing yourself to feel that. So be aware of your triggers, be aware of your emotions, and be aware of the pain. Your aches aren't coming from nowhere. You know what I mean? You know, you might think that, oh, I injured myself or I did this. But at the end of the day, the injury is in a specific part of your body as a way of saying, this is the area you need to work on internally. That's what I believe. You know what I mean? You're not going to bang your hand or your arm for no reason. There's a message there. Like, what is the message? You know what I mean? Like, for example, if you've got eye issues, it's because you don't like what you're seeing in your reality. If you've got hearing issues or anything like that, it's like you're not happy with what you're hearing in your reality. You can really decipher throughout your chakra system what part of your energy needs to be checked. So, like, injuries aren't random, wounds aren't random, pain isn't random. It's all coming from an internal system. It really is. And if you fix your mind, you can actually fix your body. This is the mind-blowing thing. You know, I was in agony, and because I sat with it and asked myself what was going on internally, that pain went away, completely went away. The same with the sniffles, they went away overnight as well, because I worked on my internal system. So if you're getting triggered, if you're getting ratty, if you're getting angry and frustrated, if you're excessively tired, if you're getting these body aches that are coming from nowhere, ask yourself, what am I trapping within me? What do I need to release? Because your body is showing you that you need to detox, you need to expel this energy in order to actually build your immune system again and build your mentality again. And that's what it is. So listen to your mind and listen to your body. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you'd like help on your journey, please book me for a free discovery call today, and I'd love nothing more than to help on your path.